On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Metro Ford of OKC, we've got an interview with OU legend Blake Bell. We talked to the Belldozer about his season with the Dallas Cowboys and get into some of the big storylines in the NFL. We also give you the latest OU football updates, including Bob Stoops replacing Urban Meyer on Big Noon Kickoff, and the date for the spring game is set. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. My man Mike Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's beautiful Monday, March 15th, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Metro Ford of OKC. Metro Ford of OKC's inventory is the best of the best. In fact, they own more Black Widows and more 2021 F-150s than anybody else. They're the only Roush and Rocky Ridge dealer in the state. You can find a ride at Metro Ford of OKC that you can't find anywhere else in Oklahoma. Just like their selection of vehicles is unmatched, so is their customer service. The Metro Ford of OKC Difference Program is included with the purchase of every new and pre-owned vehicle. It includes free oil changes for life, lifetime window tint, lifetime nitrogen fill for your tires, complimentary wheel locks, interior fabric protection, complimentary service loaners, a complimentary shuttle with service, and a complimentary multi-point inspection. Come feel the performance when you test drive a Roush or a Raptor, and come see why the difference is real at Metro Ford of OKC. Visit metrofordofokc.com for more information, or go to the dealership and tell them we sent you. Now, we're recording this several nights early, Ted, several nights. So if some of this stuff seems a little old, we apologize for nothing. I'm on vacation, people. Leave me alone. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let us know who you want us to try to get on the podcast. This episode, we've got the dozer, Ted. We've got the Belldozer, Blake Bell.
Dude, he's churning out a heck of an NFL career, man, and he's not slowing down at all. What's that? I think that was his 6th year, and
Yeah.
had another good, solid year. He shows that he can do a bunch of different things. So I think the future still remains bright, man.
Yeah. I'm so damn proud of that guy. Now, obviously, I have my bias because he's one of my best friends, but he continues to impress me with his ability to block at the tight end position. I do think he's become one of the more consistent guys blocking in the league at that position. And the Cowboys, once Jarwin went down, they asked him to do a lot. So we've got a fun conversation with Blake. But first, a few OU updates. Let's start here, Ted. Bob Stoops, our coach, first ballot Hall of Famer, will be replacing Urban Meyer on Fox's Big Noon Kickoff. He'll be joining Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Brady Quinn, and the host, Rob Stone. I absolutely cannot wait for this. And I'm interested to see how Bob handles it. I really am. But he has loosened up so much in retirement. And I think the more TV he does, the more comfortable he's going to get at doing it, because it can be a little uncomfortable at first. Teddy, you're in the business. You know that. You do a lot of television. But I do think once he establishes that comfortability and kind of gets rolling and feels good in front of the camera, which I think it's pretty well known. It wasn't his favorite thing in the world when he was coaching, but I think he's going to do a really good job. And he kind of has some big shoes to fill. Let's be real. Urban Meyer was pretty damn good on that show.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Coach Stoops has a ton of resources, knows everyone in the business, can call up any coach and have a conversation about their football team to learn what he needs to learn. That's something that he's got that most people will never get, no matter how much TV they do. So he's got that advantage. Uh, the one thing that I'm curious to see, and this isn't just Coach Stoops, it's really any coach or player for that matter that transitions into television or radio or any type of media. We've been conditioned for so long to say the exact same things. Everyone says the same thing. You can cut and paste every coach's post game comments. It doesn't matter who played in what game. They all say the exact same thing. We got out coached today. Credit to our opponent. We got some things we got to get better on. We were good, but we're not quite there. I mean, it's all the same stuff. And you got to learn how to get out of those things and be comfortable getting your opinion out there, because you go through your entire life with no opinion, just repeating the same stuff over and over, so I think he'll adapt quickly. And you're right, I think it's better that he's had some time before he went into that job, instead of going straight from coaching and straight into it. You have time to settle into a little bit more. He'll never be a normal fan, but at least get to see the game maybe from those eyes, like he hadn't seen it before.
Right. And I do think that he is the type of guy, especially as I've gotten to know him since he retired. He is the type of guy that doesn't want to half-ass stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, the man wrote a book called No Excuses, for God's sake. So I think he's going to take it very seriously. I think he's going to want to be good. And that's exciting because it's going to be fun to see a guy that, coached us and has such a great reputation and so many connections to Oklahoma on that stage. The interesting thing is going to be, and I think a lot of people are thinking about this, is okay, if OU struggles at some point in time, how is he going to approach that? And I'm not worried about it. I think he'll be fair in his criticisms. I think he'll be measured. I think he'll say what he feels, but that could be a bit of an awkward situation that could arise. But that's part of the job. So I'm not necessarily worried about it. But I know some OU fans brought up like, okay, well, what happens if OU isn't playing well or something like that? Will he be able to criticize them? And I don't think he'll have any problem doing that, Ted.
No, I don't either. And I don't think he'll say anything that isn't abundantly obvious. If some late game turnovers cost you a football game, I don't think it's out of line for someone to say you got to take better care of the ball. If penalties are an issue and cost you momentum on a drive, or were a big factor late, I don't think it's out of line to say that you've got to be more disciplined. So I don't think he's going to say anything that won't be abundantly clear. I mean, and
Right.
and I don't think that if he does say something like that, if you're a coach, or if you're Lincoln, or if you're an OU fan, that you should feel any different than if he was standing at the podium saying it, because he would have said those same things about his team whenever he was coaching them. So I would just take it in stride. Hell, he's earned the ability to be able to critique Oklahoma, I would say, right?
Absolutely. And there is one thing I hope that they do, and people forget. Like, Bob clearly has such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the game in general, but that dude knows the hell out of defense. And he stayed on top of it, right? With, showing up to some OU practices, and he watches a ton of games, like all those types of things. I hope that they showcase his knowledge of defense somehow, because not many people on the planet know more about defensive football than Bob Stoops. So I really hope that Fox leans into that a little bit. They did some of that stuff offensively with Urban Meyer. I really enjoyed, and I think that they should utilize that and kind of showcase it on that show.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I bet they do. They're going to be paying a lot of money for him. So you might
Yeah,
as
they
well get
are.
some of that expertise out while you can. I think Coach Stoops is going to be like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. I should have been doing this the whole time I've been retired. I don't have to work that much. I could go golf all over the country, make a ton of bank. It's going to be great.
Wait, you're telling me I just have to watch the games and say what I think about what happened? That's it?
I don't know. I don't know how much he's going to make. And maybe those numbers have been thrown out there, or maybe people know what Urban Meyer made, but I bet it's not going to be too far off from what he made as a head coach, and he's going to spend about 1/100th of the time working as he did whenever he was coaching, and 0% of the stress.
It's going to be a great gig. He's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. It'll be a lot of fun to get to see him do that. And College Game Day, watch out.
Look
Big
out.
Noon Kickoff's got Bobby Stoops. No big deal. Okay, one other OU football thing, as announced a while ago. Since you're listening to this, we know it's a little dated now, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's okay for me because I was the one that put it out first. Joe Castiglione gave it to me and Holly Rowe on Big 12 today first. So we got to break a little news. Man, Teddy, that breaking news high, that's good
Huge.
stuff. That's good. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's like I I fear doing stuff like that because I'm always scared that it's going to change. So I never put anything out there like
I
that, but
feel like I feel like Holly tweeted it and you just retweeted her, right? Is that did I see that
how dare
properly?
you? No, I tweeted it first.
Oh, okay.
God, so insulting me. No,
Yeah.
but Joe Castiglione came on our show, told us that OU spring game will be April 24th. Now, the time for kickoff and the TV details are still be determined as of the recording of this podcast. But one thing is for sure that 25% capacity. So a lot of fans that want to go will be able to go. And hopefully, the number one concern, right, with the spring game is always weather, right? It's always weather. Now people worry about, okay, what musical actor are they going to get? I don't even know if that's going to be a thing this year. It wouldn't make much sense if you can have, if you're only going to have 25
You're not
capacity
going to have
to,
recruits. I
yeah,
mean,
you're not going to have
kind of the deal
recruits.
recently has been to put on a big production because you're going to have a ton of recruits there.
Yeah, and I know that there are ongoing talks about them doing something in the month of June that would be very impressive to recruits. But it's always exciting when they set a date, Ted, and we know when the spring game is coming, and we will dive into a lot of things we're hearing about spring ball, some of the position battles and all that stuff. But I'm just glad to see it. Didn't have it last year. We get it this year. Once again, progress, baby, progress.
Yeah, I am pissed though
Uh-oh.
because I felt like the Friday night spring game was the greatest thing ever. I felt like the fans loved it. I felt like the players and coaches loved it. I know I definitely loved it. And yes, it's selfish. I want the weekend. Okay, fine. It's selfish, but still, I thought it was awesome whenever we did it on a Friday night. That's just me. I thought it would have been perfect to kind of have that as the new tradition, but opportunity missed.
I'm sorry, man. I
Yeah.
really don't. You know what? I hadn't really thought about it. Friday night versus Saturday night.
It's
I
so
I would
much better.
I would be all in for Friday night just from because we're gonna have to do radio for it, and
Mhm.
maybe I don't know if we're gonna do a pregame show, a television show for it or not. What all we're gonna do for it, but yeah, you're right. Then this is coming from the guys that absolutely love 11 a.m. kickoffs because we
That's
get to
true.
get home. We get to
That's
work
true.
and then get home. So maybe
But
we're
the
not the
year they
best
did
judge
it,
of
remember
this.
it was on, I think there was weather, so they had short notice. They bumped it up to Friday. They end up having like a concert or something down on Campus Corner, and it was awesome. People, that weren't even coming to the spring game ended up going to Campus Corner and turned into a pretty nice little deal, pretty nice little event. And that was like on a Monday or something. They moved it up. Uh, I wish they would have scheduled it that way, but I don't know.
We'll
Saturday
take
it
what we
is.
can get. At least they're having it,
No, I
right?
agree. It
Uh,
will be fun to get back out there.
yeah, I've talked to some people, especially I've talked to some people around the Iowa State program. They basically have done away with the spring game. I don't think Matt Campbell sees a lot of value in it. So at least OU fans are getting something,
Well,
right? And
some
it's
places they've never, it's not an event that's really heavily attended. If you've got a small fan base and there's not really anyone going to be there, because let's be honest, when it comes to the spring game, the players and coaches are like, let's go out there, wave to the cameras, and get out of here as quick as possible without anyone getting hurt. I mean, if you put truth serum in Lincoln's veins, he'd probably say that he'd like to do away with it too. But it's been a huge recruiting point for him in recent years. Now, this year, whenever that's not the case, don't know how amped they'll be about it.
I'll say this: when in 2010, when I'd moved over to offensive line, maybe it was just me. Maybe it's just because I'm a little weird, but like the spring game was a huge deal to me. Like as a player, I was like, I have to play well. If I do, like, this is as close to a game situation as we're getting. I have to play well, or the coaches are going to think I suck and I'm never going to get to play. I don't know. I took it super seriously. Like, I understand, but I hadn't, gotten on the field yet. Now, as I aged, I understood, okay, maybe I took it a little too seriously my redshirt freshman year, but I always viewed it as an opportunity, especially when I was a young player. So I assume, maybe I'm crazy, but I assume some guys still view it that way. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's
Not
funny.
all of us were absolute stars like Teddy Lehman. Okay, bud.
Hey, so here's what's funny. So the spring before my senior year, um, which that's usually the year where you don't hardly play at all, right? In the spring game. So on like Wednesday before the Saturday spring game, I sprained my ankle in practice, and it swelled up real bad. And I wasn't. I think we may not have even practiced Friday, but Coach Venables told me the day before the spring game that you're not playing, and we don't even want you to dress out and be on the sideline. So just stay in the locker room during the game. So I was like, sweet. I'll just say, Gabe, that I had a long Friday night. Okay. And I walk into the facility Saturday morning, a little bit of a headache. Okay. And Coach Venables runs over there and is like, hey, we want you to dress out and just be out on the field and maybe go through one series or two. And I was like, oh my God.
No.
So I started pounding Gatorades, but by the time I got out there and got warmed up, I was pissed off that I only played one series. I think we like went 3 and out, and I was like, just let's go. Now that I'm here, let's get this thing going. But yeah, that I'm my heart sank whenever he came over and told me that I'm dressing out.
Remember when hangovers like weren't a thing when we were young? It could
Oh, it's
just
like I mean, all you do is go hit a Gatorade, maybe a Tylenol, and it's like game on.
those were the days.
Mm.
I did not play in the spring game my senior year or leading into my senior season because I got in a fight in spring practice and broke my hand. So yeah, that was
Hey,
that made
this is a
everyone happy.
yeah, it's a good time to remind everyone that when you punch a helmet,
I
the
didn't punch
guy.
it. I had it. I grabbed it. And first of all, the fight happened because I blocked a guy too well. Yeah, Frank Shannon, I said it. I put you on your back and you were all mad about it. It's your fault. But
Mhm.
he was punching me. And I put my hand on his face mask and he did this weird thing. And like, I don't know what it did to my hand, but I felt it just
He
go.
probably smacked your hand and moved his helmet at the same time.
It was this, I don't know, but it just went. And I'll never forget. I walked back to the huddle and Beatonbow's like, "You're all right?" And I go, "I broke my hand." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, definitely broke my hand." And Jim Hillis comes over, grabs it, looks at me, and goes, "Yeah, he broke his hand." And I was, "Yeah,
Oh
yeah, I
man.
definitely did." Okay, let's get to our interview with the Belldozer. But first, let's talk money. First Fidelity Bank is a full-service financial institution based in Oklahoma with tailored solutions for all your personal and business needs. Checking accounts, saving accounts, home loans, and much more. They do it all. Whether it's online banking from your computer or mobile banking from your phone, everything is stress-free with FFB. Making mobile deposits, paying bills online, and moving money to different accounts could not be easier. First Fidelity Bank also provides free ATMs worldwide, making banking convenient wherever you are. They also give back to the community. FFB donates a total of more than $500,000 to local charities and educational foundations. Make your life easier and go bank at First Fidelity Bank. Visit ffb.com for more information. And don't forget to go buy some rock and roll tequila. Rock and roll tequila is the ultra premium tequila that hits all the right notes. It's won all kinds of awards for its superior taste and smooth finish. To find a store that has it, visit rockandrolltequila.com or check out their Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. This stuff is fantastic. If you don't want to take our word for it, maybe you'll listen to this guy who is the new host, or not host, the new talent. The talent, Bob's talent, the new talent on Big Noon Kickoff.
This is Coach Bob Stoops. When you're a college football coach, it's important to have an eye for talent. The same holds true when choosing your tequila. When I tried rock and roll, I liked it so much, I decided to become a partner in this Oklahoma-owned company. Crafted in the highlands of Jalisco, Mexico, the smooth taste of rock and roll's triple distilled platinum, our añejo, called Cristalino, and the incredible premium quality mango tequila are awesome. Our defiantly unique guitar-shaped bottles make it easy to find, and you'll love the ultra-premium quality and taste. No excuses. Make rock and roll your game day tequila. Tastefully rebellious, start the party with rock and roll.
It is our pleasure to be joined by an OU legend, a man known simply by one name, the Belldozer. Blake Bell is in the house. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? I'm hanging out, man, in Oklahoma.
Had to be a relief to get that season over with.
What's that?
Had to be a relief to get that season done and finished.
Yeah, it was brutal, man. I mean, we were close, as Coach McCarthy was always saying, but yeah, anytime you're losing, and obviously being with the Dallas Cowboys and the expectations, it's not what we wanted, but I had a great time. Coaches, players were fantastic, welcoming me in, and but yeah, it was brutal, man. It wasn't what we wanted.
So, before we kind of talk about some of the things that happened during the 2020 season for y'all, I know you made a really tough decision last year, right, in free agency. You end up choosing Dallas over Kansas City, over a couple other places that you could have landed. But even though the season didn't go the way y'all wanted it to, what was it like playing for the Dallas Cowboys? Because I feel like there's this aura about playing for that team, and kind of the things that I'd heard from guys that have played there it's awesome from every aspect of things. Is that kind of how it was for you?
It was, man. I mean, just like walking into the facilities for the first day, you just see the lunchrooms, the pictures, the tradition. You think about yourself playing, and then you look back and you see all these guys that have done it before you and all the Super Bowl rings they've had, and it kind of hits you a little bit. And walking into the locker room and just everything that Jerry's done, in that organization is incredible. And just listen to the guys talk as well, just about get ready, for the media and just all the things that come with playing with the Dallas Cowboys. And they were right. You almost have to stay off the social medias at times, if you're winning or you're losing, because you never know what they're going to say. But it was incredible, and it was amazing.
The media kind of paints the picture of the Dallas Cowboys like it's dysfunctional, it's in disarray. And I personally believe that Jerry Jones wants it that way, to where there's always something to talk about. But behind the scenes, is there any hint of that at all, or is it as tightly run as all the other places that you've seen?
No, I don't think so. I mean, with Coach McCarthy coming in and the staff that he got, it was awesome. I mean, it's one of the better ones I've been around. And they handle it very professionally, and it was great. But at the end of the day, like I was saying, when you're losing games and you're coming in that Monday, Tuesday, everyone's a little bit, it's not what you want, right? I mean, the NFL, you guys know how it is. It's a fine line between winning and losing, and a lot of times we were on the bad end of it. And Coach McCarthy did a great job of just trying to explain to us that, hey, we got to keep fighting. This is your job. this is what you're trying to put food on the table for your family. And this is, you got to come to work every day and try to fix it. And we did. And I felt like we were close, and we obviously had some injuries with Dak going down and 2 tackles going down and just all over the board. So it's next man up, but you guys know how it is. If you guys got, a guy like Dak going down, it's not what you want.
No kidding. Now, before we kind of dive into, the 6-10 and maybe what the mood was, I'm just curious, Blake, like, how was the season for you when it comes to all the protocols, all the things you guys had to do because of the coronavirus aspect of things, going and playing in stadiums where there was only a couple people in the crowd? From that standpoint, just how weird was this season for for all NFL players?
Well, I think it just starts with the testing and all the protocols, like you're saying. I mean, every single morning between 6 and noon, you had to go get a COVID test. Now, whether that was before breakfast or after the first meeting or right before practice, or coach yelling at you on the field, hey, go get your COVID test before you get in trouble. So it started with stuff like that. And then obviously the mask and different stuff that everyone had to get used to through the season. And I think that was the toughest thing. And then, like you said, going into the stadiums, we play our first game in LA against the Rams, and you can hear the teams clapping and saying, yeah, go. It was like a high school scrimmage. So in your mind, you got to kind of maybe pop one of those smelling salts and go, okay, here we go. This is the real deal.
Is it tough as football is all about the locker room, man. It's camaraderie and developing that chemistry for a group. Was it tough as a free agent to kind of get with the team and get to know everyone and just kind of getting to know the lay of the land with having that off season where you guys weren't there? And, a lot of teams did so much stuff via Zoom. So it just wasn't a typical team atmosphere. Was it ever hard to kind of feel like you were really a part of that group?
It was just from the no OTAs, that really hurt, I think, and not just like you're saying, just getting to know the guys. I mean, the more you're around guys and you can kind of laugh and tell stories, you get to know them, it makes it better for you. So, I'm kind of walking in there and, I'm walking next to guys that they don't know who I am. I don't know who they are. I might know who they are, but they probably don't know who I am. And, I'm just trying to, start conversation with them. Hey, what's going on? But that was the toughest thing, just trying to get, obviously you're tight with the tight end group, but like you said, the O linemen, we weren't there for OTAs, walkthroughs. Hey, how do they make their calls? What do they like? If I'm chipping, do you want me to touch them? Do you not want me to touch them? Because some guys, they might get really mad at you if you touch them. So stuff like that. And it was the hardest thing about it. But I think as we got going and, like the more walkthroughs we had and practices, it got there. But yeah, I'd say that no OTAs really, really hurt us.
So that's interesting, going back all the way for the preseason stuff for you, right? Because you sign a free agency and then you don't show up, right? I mean, it's just got to be completely bizarre. So with all of that, did you feel like going into the season that you were behind mentally or physically where you normally would be heading into the season?
I felt good physically and mentally, so, so I was coming up here upstairs just like I'm doing now, and we'd have all these meetings and coaches, it could be offensive group meetings, and then we'd go break off into tight end group room. And, we're going through all these installs and, they're going fast. Kellen was moving through them, and then we go into the tight end room and we try to break it down. But like it's tough, man. I mean, you can take so many notes, you can write stuff down, but I'm a guy that I like to get on the field. I like to see stuff. I like to see it happening. And that was the toughest thing. So, I mean, I had this notebook full of notes that I get to camp, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're on the field going. And it's like, whoa, I was up here in Zoom meetings for however long we were. And then all of a sudden it just pops off. So it definitely was different, but we got through it.
And just to add another layer to it, you had at least three quarterbacks that started this season. Obviously you start off with Dak, he gets hurt. Dalton goes in, then he takes that concussion. Then you got DiNucci come in. So I got to imagine offensively, every quarterback, the way they are in the huddle, their cadence, everything is different. Is that hard on an offense, and even you specifically, to constantly be adjusting to a new quarterback, or do you kind of take that in stride?
Well, I would say in most cases it probably is. We were fortunate enough to have Andy Dalton, and he's a 9-10 year vet in the league that's obviously started all those years, so he gets it, man. He's been there, he's done it. But like you said, obviously having Dak go down is terrible for the Cowboys, and you could just feel it in that stadium when it happened. I mean, it was silent. You could hear a pin drop. So Andy did a great job coming in, though. But like you said, yeah, different cadences. Everyone had to get used to it. Some guys jumping off sides just because Dax was a little faster, a little quicker. And then Andy went down, and you have a guy like Ben DiNucci come in, which poor guy. It's you get thrown in there. You haven't even played. We had no OTAs. He's I forget, what was he, a 7th-round pick, and you get thrown in there on, what was that, Monday Night Football, or was it Thursday night? I forget what
I think
one it was.
Monday or Sunday night. Yeah.
And you get thrown in there, and it's like, hey, I got these guys coming after me, and it's his real deal. So I think he did a good job for what he could, but like at the end of the day, man, yeah, we missed 4 out there for sure.
So with the issues you guys, the injuries you guys had at the quarterback position, did McCarthy and you ever have the conversation, right? And I know that a lot of people were talking about it on Twitter, like, okay, if they get to an emergency QB situation, did he ever pull you aside and say, hey, if shit goes really wrong, can you still take a snap? You still got it?
Oh yeah, we had some combos, and even with the quarterback coach and the OC, and we kind of laughed about it, because I'd go out there and I actually took a couple snaps and did some stuff in one of the walkthroughs that we had, and guys are just laughing, because you have half the guys that know my story, and you have half the guys that don't, and they're like, you played quarterback? I was like, yeah, we won't get into that. But and then we had that game. We had a couple things going in. We had the quarterback sneak. We finally ran it. We had it.
It was so awesome.
And we actually took it from Washington. And then it's funny how, in the NFL the next week, the 49ers run it with Juszczyk, and he does it out of the backfield. And, it's just funny how it's a copycat league. But we actually had a couple more plays come in, but, I won't get into it just in case I go back there in free agency. You never know, we might see them.
Quick break. Do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com, and tell them we sent you. Also, make sure you stop by Riverwind. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience. There are temperature screenings at all entrances, and masks are required for all patrons and employees, because your safety is Riverwind's #1 priority. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games, with a huge selection of table games including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And for March's Kitchen Cash-In, all wildcard members that earn 500 points on their wildcard playing AGS machines will win a Continental Stand mixer. Let's go. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the one. Okay, back to the interview.
Well, did that, whenever those conversations came up, was that something where they put extra stuff on your plate as far as homework, or is it something that you already knew and it would have been pretty easy had you gotten to a situation like that to be able to step in and handle some of it?
Well, you definitely have the quarterback coach will come over there and just ask you, hey, I got these, 5 to 10 plays, let's just run these, let's get good with it just in case something like that would happen, like you said, and we'll go from there. So it was never one of those that nobody wanted it to happen, but yeah, like those 10 plays that I would have set aside for me just in case it happened. And, all of a sudden, that was the big reason why I was that guy, because all of a sudden the starting guy goes down. Now we only have, it's that next quarterback and me with numbers wise, because you're only suiting 2 quarterbacks up on the 53. So it's definitely weird, and it's all fun and games till you actually have to go take a snap out there.
So with the position you were actually supposed to play for the Dallas Cowboys, it was interesting for you right at the start of the season. Weren't playing as many snaps probably as you thought you would. You signed there, for a decent figure there in free agency, and you find yourself just playing a handful of snaps. But then Blake Jarwin goes down with the ACL, and just you never want to see a teammate go down. But how did that kind of change your role within the season? Because all of a sudden you were on the field a lot more.
Yeah, and it's terrible, like you said, when you see Blake go down, and I remember on the sideline there, and he's running like a little 10-yard out, and he just plants and just went down. I mean, he didn't get touched by anybody. Knew the turf out there. People can say what they want, but it was a terrible deal. But yeah, so then all of a sudden I started playing a little bit more. It was me and Dalton Schultz, and we actually had a good tight end room, and we meshed well. And Dalton had a hell of a season for sure. And I kind of found my role, and a lot of it was in the 12 personnel with a 2 tight end set. And I felt like I played well, and actually towards moving into the middle to the end of the season, I was playing a lot. We were running a lot 12 personnel and running the ball. And when you got a guy like Zeke back there, you definitely want to try to make your blocks. That's for sure, because that guy can run hard.
Do you feel like the quarterback situation was better for you because you guys ended up maybe having to lean on the run a little bit more, or was it worse from you that maybe there was things in Dak's game that he could really utilize the tight end sets better, or was it just kind of a wash?
Yeah, I think it's there's something to be said about that with Dak going out. But then again, I mean, Andy Dalton, like we said, he's played, he knows, he gets it. So he was doing just fine for us. But I think when Dak went down, we were trying to run the ball and establish the run game. With just with the losing and everything going, it's like, hey, let's get this run game going, and then set up the play action and stuff. And it was. I mean, a lot of teams were starting to load the box on us because obviously we got number 21 back there, and they kind of knew what we were trying to do. But we at the end of the day, we didn't get it done. And like I said, we wanted to win more games, but it's a fine line.
Now, I'm not sure we anticipated you becoming, and I'm not just saying this because you're one of my best friends, but you become one of the more consistent blocking tight ends in the league, right? When you watch the tape, you have become a very consistent blocker. But with the way that your guys' offensive line struggled because of all the injuries, were you surprised at how much you were asked to do, most notably in pass protection? Because you were put in some interesting situations. You know how I do it. I go back and watch all the snaps and just watch for you. And I was just like, damn, how many times are they going to put him one-on-one with the defensive end in pass pro?
Well, it was a kind of a running joke in the tight end room and stuff around the facility. But, it's like a lot of these protections, the tight end's out there. Sometimes the tackle's out, depending on the front you get, or sometimes he's got to step down and then he'll be out later. Well, it just seemed like that tackle was stepping down and he was hanging down inside, and then he'd get back. And I said, dude, listen, can you please get out here as soon as you can? Not that we can do the best we can, but I mean, in our division, I mean, some of those defensive ends, it's like, throw it.
Just give me an arm, please. Just give me
Yeah, no
a little
doubt.
bit of an arm. Now, I'd be worried though if someone started walking up and be like, "Hey, you think you could get to 300, 305 maybe? Start playing a little tackle for us?"
No, well, I know I need to go talk to Lane Johnson about that. He's
Yeah,
the perfect guy for that, right?
yeah. So whenever as the season rolls on, and we've all been there, and it be well, I guess it was a little bit different for you guys because your division, you guys were able to hang in there longer than maybe you would in a typical year. But what was it like whenever you really got into those grinders, the dog days, whenever playoffs are looking like they're gone, and it can get to where everyone starts playing for themselves and they're worried about their next contract and they're worried about getting theirs instead of just dialing in for the team and staying together. Was there any fractures going on in there?
I'd like to say there was. There's days where, obviously everyone's kind of butting heads a little bit and stuff's hitting the fan. But I think the locker room, everyone brought it in and kind of realized, what we were here for. And obviously it's, going back to what McCarthy said, it's the Dallas Cowboys, man. I mean, everyone's here for their reason. And, there's a reason we brought you here and this is your job. So we need to keep it going. And I think that's a testament of McCarthy. He was a great coach, players coach, came in every day, was the same guy. If he needed to rip your ass, he might rip your ass. But other than that, he was going to pick you up. He's going to say, hey, let's do this, finding ways to get better, trying to find the way for the team to win. So I think guys respected that and wanted to win for him.
Now, one of the interesting things that came out during the year for the Cowboys was the players were allegedly, and it was unnamed players, from sources and all those things, but they said that they were starting to call out the coaches and things like that. And all of us know that when you're losing games, you're frustrated, you say certain things. But did you ever feel like that affected the locker room, like that affected the dynamic of the team at all?
I don't think so. It was the first day we came in there. You could tell everyone's kind of looking at each other like, whoa, was it you? Was it you? and obviously that stuff happens when it comes out because no one knows. But, I'm on the offensive side of the ball. So as you guys know, it's like offense, defense. A lot of times you don't even see those guys during the day except for practice. So I can't really speak for that side of the ball and kind of what they're going through. I'm sure that they talked about it and stuff, but we try to just, like I said, put your head down and just do your job. And we obviously on the opposite side of the ball, we couldn't worry about it, but I think it was there. Everyone knew about it, but we gave it about a week and it was gone.
I expect a very diplomatic answer to this next question. So,
oh God,
you're in a unique position where over the last 2 years, you've played with the two now that Dak got his contract, two highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes and Dak Prescott. How close are those two, honestly, as far as on the field? Because I'll tell you, and you can't be mad at Dak for getting his money, but I feel like there is a large difference between those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to Dak for getting that contract. Well deserved. But yeah, that's a tough question. Like you said, playing with both of them, they're both incredible with different talents. They both do kind of different things on the field, and then a lot similar too. But that's tough. I want to say, just with Patrick Mahomes and the different throws he can make and the different stuff we've seen, the Super Bowl when he dives, he's completely parallel to the ground and makes that throw 50 yards on the money. Dak he can scramble. He likes to get out of the pocket, but he likes to stay in the pocket as well and kind of sit back there, make the throws, get hit. And honestly, I've seen Dak make just ridiculous throws too. So, I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you who's better just from playing with both of them. But
I'll tell you, Mahomes is better, bro. Mahomes is better. Dak's really damn good, but Mahomes is unbelievable.
I hear you. No, it's I would give Mahomes a little bit ahead on that, but they're both really good.
They're both extremely rich. Now, as far as Dak Prescott, his contract was such a constant topic in sports media, right? People always bring it up, especially he goes down with that horrific injury. Then people are talking about it even more. Was that something that got brought up? Like, is that something that you guys were talking about? It was like, hey, when's Dak going to get his money? Is it something that he brought up, or was it just one of those things where it's like, hey, his agent's got to deal with that, and we got to focus on getting ready to play games?
I didn't hear it really as much. I mean, you might have a guy, joke around about it with them a little bit, but you didn't really hear it as much. And I think it's because Dak didn't really want that attention on him. He knew, I think, that it was going to come. Just give it time. And obviously the injury came, and you could just tell with those pictures you saw him on the field and crying. You could tell it really meant something to him. But yeah, I think that at the end of the day, he got his money, and it's well deserved, man, for sure.
Quick break. March is here and the madness has officially begun. It's time for you to shoot your shot and score big on the nonstop action with MyBookie. Select the winners from 63 tournament games in the MyBookie bracket contest for a chance at $10,000 in cash prizes, and it's only $1 to enter. It doesn't matter whether you are filling out multiple brackets, betting the national championship winner, or simply looking for player and game props, MyBookie has you covered. Sign up today at mybookie.ag and use promo code Oklahoma to secure a deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Oklahoma to claim your first deposit bonus. College ball, NBA, and NHL, no matter the sport, no matter the minute, from tip-off to buzzer, MyBookie puts the action in your hands with in-game live betting. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Also, make sure you contact our friends at Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs. They'll help you execute a realistic and achievable weight loss plan designed for you and only you. They've got all kinds of treatments for men and women. Their licensed and trained experts combine diet and exercise with hormone therapies to maximize your results. If you're struggling with low libido or low energy, Advanced Weight Loss Clinic of Sand Springs can help with that too. They also offer Botox and fillers. To get on the path to losing weight, call 918-241-LOSE or visit their Facebook page. If you mention the podcast, you will get a free fat burner injection. All right. And don't forget to send your children to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. They know that children need to be in school and are doing everything possible to make that happen. Bishop McGinnis students were welcomed back last August and saw very few interruptions in 2020. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Financial aid is available. Okay, back to the interview.
Was Jerry Jones ever around there very much? Did you guys? I know it was a different year. I imagine in a typical year he's in and out of there all day, every day. But was he around the team a whole lot?
Yeah, it was. So he would come, randomly. You'd see him over there on the sideline at practice, or obviously the games, maybe in the locker room before or after. Just kind of hit or miss. Him and the whole Jones family that you'd see him around, and the whole crew and scouting department. But you definitely did. But you never knew when you're going to. He could be there one day and you wouldn't see him for a week. But it was pretty cool seeing him out there and watching the practice and getting involved with it for sure.
Yeah. Jerry Jones, what a guy. What a character. Now, I won't lie. I was very happy when the Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, because I know it'd been a really tough decision for you in free agency. And I was like, damn it, if they win the Super Bowl, he's going to be like, why didn't I go to Kansas City? So what was that kind of like for you, seeing all those guys you just played with get another shot at another Super Bowl ring and just coming up short? I know I saw several of them at your wedding, and it was, they were kind of just like, yeah, I mean, Tampa was, they were damn good.
Right. No, I think at the end of the day, like you said, I would have been hurt for sure. I mean, just knowing in the back of your mind, like, oh, there's a chance I could have went back there. But, people kept asking me that too as it got closer to the Super Bowl. And, it is what it is, man. I mean, I made a decision to go to the Cowboys, and it was what I did and what I wanted to do. But, yeah, like you said, it was a tough one. And but yeah, even at the wedding, seeing some of those guys and just reminiscing and having them talk about this Super Bowl and stuff, and kind of brings up the last one. And but listening to them and saying how they lost and everything was not fun either. So I feel for them on that as well.
Teddy, Anthony Sherman, their fullback. It's like the first thing I see him say to Blake is, "You would have started for us all year. What were you thinking?"
What are you
It
thinking,
was,
dude?
it was like the
Why'd you do
first
that?
thing he said.
I'm
You
like, we
should
get
have
it,
said,
Sherm, we get it.
go talk to the GM, dude. Okay. The GM should have known that too.
Right.
So what's next? It's a weird year. There's cap is, what is it, flat or maybe even down a little bit. It's an interesting year. There's a bunch of teams that have been way more active as far as some of their big contract guys, as far as releasing and stuff like that. So what's the outlook right now? What have you guys talked about as far as what the next steps may be?
So I was talking to my agent the other day, and I think everything starts up, what is it, next Wednesday? Monday, I think the legally tampering period or whatever they call it, where they can kind of start talking to you and getting a feel for everything. But really, he said, like you just said, everything seems real quiet right now. Things might start going slower just with all this stuff and the cap, trying to figure out, a lot of free agents out there as well. So we'll see, man. I mean, I'd like to go back to the Cowboys, if that's an opportunity for me. But, as soon as I sit here and try to figure out where I'm going, you just don't know. I mean, all of a sudden your agent can get on the phone and say this team called or this team called and they got this for you. So, I tried to do that a little bit last year, and it's just like your mind's going everywhere. And then all of a sudden, I'm going back from the Chiefs, Cowboys, and it's like, this year I'm just going to let it play out. Whatever happens, happens. Wherever I'm at, I'm at. But I'd like to stay close to home if possible.
Yeah, and Teddy, Blake's free agency last year, and I know we've talked about this before, but he was doing it all out here in Maui. So he was getting calls at like 4 a.m. and like just missing all these calls. And he was like, dude, I just keep playing phone tag with my agent. I was like, that's not what you want.
You feel like every second, like if you don't answer the phone, like the opportunity is going to be gone, right?
No, 100%. I'm pretty sure out there at wasn't it like 4 a.m. I rolled over and my phone is ringing and then I missed it. I get a text saying, hey, this is Coach Reed's trying to call you. So I got up and called him back, and he was just, talking about free agency and everything. But it's just kind of funny. It was like, okay, it's 4 a.m. I mean, come on. Can I call you back at 9 or 10?
You're trying to act like you're paying attention. Like, yeah, Coach,
sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, Coach. Now, okay, so the free agency thing it's interesting. We'll see how the cap affects that and how that affects the timetable for a lot of free agents. But what have you guys been told from the Players Association, from the leadership there about OTAs and this offseason? Because you missed out on all that stuff last year. Have you gotten any sort of update from the leadership in the players group about OTAs this year and kind of what the offseason will look like?
Yeah, I was asking my agent the other day, and he really didn't know of much, but he thinks that we'll start virtual and possibly get into maybe May, and we might go for a couple camps or get into the, getting back to the facilities. Now, I have no idea. I was thinking we would just start up and just be going, just with baseball, basketball, everyone's kind of going. Now, are they thinking maybe the way we did it last year, actually it ran pretty smooth, with the virtual. Now they, like I said, they could do a little bit of both. I'm not sure. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of what they do.
How'd you feel? So it was different. Physically, were you where you needed to be? I know you mentioned earlier that you felt fine, but like a typical season, you've been together so much and walking through stuff and OTAs. Did it take guys a little bit longer into the year to really hit midseason form, so to speak?
Well, I think, like I said, for me physically, I felt as strong as I ever have because I obviously got to work out that much longer. But I would say the football shape, you can condition, you can go run your gassers, you can do whatever you want. But you start getting out there for the first couple of practices and looking to the guy next to you, and you're just looking at each other like, what is going on? Because, you
Getting
can't.
that shooting individual drill, huh?
Oh my gosh, you just can't, you just can't, you can't put it together. I mean, you can't do that out here, even if you're hitting the bag, hitting the sled. It's not the same as being on the field and actually striking another guy. So it's different.
So Blake, before we let you get out of here, man, what did you think about CeeDee Lamb in his rookie year there in Dallas? Had some, had a lot of production, had some good games, had some highlight plays. Well, how did he kind of fit in there in Dallas? Because it looks like the future is very bright for that young man.
Very bright, man. I mean, just the way he came in there, guys obviously knew, his talent level and what he could do on the field. And then just getting in the locker room and getting to know him. I didn't really know CD like that. I met him a few times at OU, but, talking to him, he's a great guy. Even throwing Neville in there. Neville's a great guy with a great sense of humor. But yeah, CD, the craziest thing about him that I noticed is, some of those plays across the middle. I mean, he would go up and make a catch and absolutely get smacked by a safety. And he'd get up and do his celebration and go to the huddle, and he'd take about 2 or 3 more of those. And, CD's not the biggest guy. He can run, but he's just – and he'd get up, man, and he kept doing it, and he did it all year. So he's unbelievable. And like you said, man, his ceiling is going to be super high.
So for you, typical off-season workouts, are you on the same timeline you are right now on a typical year? Aside from obviously last year was a little bit different, but you where you want to be health-wise, everything for next season?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. And really right now I'm just getting going on, today was like my second squat workout. And I was walking up the stairs to come do this interview, and I was like, okay, I got the Gumby legs, man. I'm shaking a little bit. I go, tomorrow and the next day is not going to be good.
That's that Body by Baldwin, brother.
Body by Baldwin, baby.
Teddy, Blake does when he's home, when he's in Oklahoma, he does his off-season stuff with a guy that I played high school football with and was the strength coach at McGinnis for a long time. And I swear he still sends me the workouts. He's like, I'm going to kill Blake today. It's going to be awesome.
He does, for sure.
That's brutal. Love it.
Teddy, you got anything else for him?
No, man, all good. I'm excited for you, man. I think good things are going to happen, free agency, and you're going to have some choices, man.
I know, man. I'm excited and can't wait to see what's going on. But like I said, I'm going to sit back and see what happens.
Hey, keep taking those snaps at quarterback. You never know whenever you might get that $40 million deal. You never know.
I know. And right, honestly, I'm starting to see those, the James Winchesters and stuff. Maybe I should start snapping it too. It seems like
there's no doubt about that.
Another few years on, huh?
He's the smartest guy ever.
I know. It's incredible, really.
The smartest people on planet Earth. Deep snappers, especially the guys that have been there for like 13 years in one spot. Yeah. You're just like, what? It's ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure the guy for the Cowboys, LP, he's been there. He's going on year 17.
Well, that's the problem. Is there's like one job comes up every 15 years or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get lucky with it.
All right, Doze. Appreciate the time, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, guys.
The old Belldozer. He keeps getting it done, man, from where he was in college, switching positions to what he's been able to do. They're just a hell of a career. And I know he's not done yet. He was playing really well towards the end of the season for him, Ted, but I continue to be impressed by that young man. Call him young man. I don't know why I called him young man.
He's
weird.
30 now, I think, right?
He's not 30 because I'm 30. And he was in the recruiting class after me. So he hasn't turned 30 yet. We'll probably have a bit of a get together for the old Dozer's 30th.
Well, I know this. We always talk about, and you've heard this a million times when it comes to the NFL, but the more you can do. And when you have a guy that can play special teams, can be a blocking tight end and help in pass protection like we talked with him about, still run routes and be effective there, play quarterback in a pinch if you need him to. those are the guys that stick around. And people know this. The blocking tight end is a diminishing position around the NFL, but it's still needed. It's great for protection. It's great for the running game. So he's got a nice little niche that he's really making the most of. It's great.
Yeah, and I'll say this. He was open a lot more than he got the football. And that's how it usually works for the blocking tight ends. But yeah, he's done a great job. And random fact about our man Blake Bell. He's got a training camp birthday. Ooh, miserable.
Ooh,
Early August.
Ouch.
August. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. It is what it is. But
so those early July birthdays has been where it's at, I guess, before you dial in to get your camp legs ready.
Oh, and on that note, episode 94 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Thursday morning. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on Sports Talk 1400. You can hear me from 3 to 5 on SiriusXM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great week. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening, and do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.